I was on my knees on the asphalt at 11 at night, hands cuffed behind my back, the blue-red lights washing over my house like a crime scene, and my 9-year-old daughter crying behind the window because she thought they were taking her dad away forever. And the woman who caused all of it, Diane Kressler, president of the Meadowbrook Estates HOA, stood there in $60 yoga pants telling the cops she owned my home of 20 years. What she didn't know was that the foreclosure papers folded in my back pocket made me the landlord of every single house in that neighborhood, including hers. Let me tell you how the hell we got here. I'm Max Brennan, 43, widower, commercial electrician, small business owner, and full-time single dad to Riley, who just turned 9. My wife Jenna died of ovarian cancer 18 months ago, and those months were, I don't even know how to describe them. Hospital's antiseptic smells that cling to you even after you shower, Riley learning to whisper because mommy needs rest. I survived all that, but I came out softer, tired, just wanting one thing: peace. A quiet place to raise my kid, rebuild our lives, grow Jenna's wildflowers in the yard so Riley could remember what happiness looked like. And life would have been peaceful. Should have been peaceful if not for one person. Diane Karen Level Deluxe Kressler, queen of the HOA kingdom, I never even belonged to. See, my house sits smack in the middle of Meadowbrook Estates, but legally I'm not part of the HOA. My grandfather refused to sell his land back when the developer built around him, so our property is exempt. Recorded, county stamped, legal, real simple. Except Diane doesn't do simple. The woman showed up in my driveway one Saturday morning, clipboard out like she was wielding Excalibur, demanding we talk about property compliance issues. I politely explained I wasn't in her HOA. Showed her the deed highlighted paragraph laminated because you learn to laminate things when people try to mess with your life. She laughed. Not a friendly laugh. The kind of laugh that says I've decided who you are and you don't get a vote. That's when the violation started. A fluorescent orange sticker slapped across my truck windshield like a giant middle finger. Grass too long. Work truck visible. Mailbox non-compliant. Half of it wasn't even real HOA code, but she didn't care. Riley watched me rip that sticker off with a razor blade because the glue was so thick it practically fused to the glass. She asked me, "Why is the mean lady mad at us?" And I wanted to say something calm, something fatherly, but all I felt was this sinking dread, like I was walking into a war I never asked for. Turns out I was. 2 weeks later, code enforcement shows up. Somebody reported unpermitted electrical work, then a failing septic system, then an illegal business operation. All false. The inspector, Doug, walked me through everything and finally sighed and said, "Off the record, it's the same caller every time, same neighborhood, same pattern." When he told me I could request the complaint history and possibly go after harassment charges, something in me shifted. I wasn't just dealing with a busybody, I was dealing with a predator. I started digging. Found out Diane had spent years targeting certain families, older folks, single moms, working-class people. Hit them with violations until they broke, sold their homes, moved away. And who listed all their houses? Diane, the real estate agent. She made 6% off every one of them. A legalized shakedown wrapped in laminate and self-righteousness. I was angry, but anger is easy. Anger burns quick and dies. What came next was worse, her making my daughter feel unsafe. The cones blocking my driveway the morning I had a big client meeting cost me $8,000. The carpool mom, forgetting Riley at gymnastics, left her sitting alone for an hour. Every night Riley crawled into bed asking if we should move somewhere where grown-ups aren't mean. It was that last one that broke me. One night after she fell asleep clutching her stuffed rabbit the way she used to clutch Jenna's hand, I sat on the floor beside her bed and thought, maybe we really should go. Maybe the fight wasn't worth it. Maybe I was being stubborn, clinging to a house full of ghosts and memories. But then I opened Jenna's garden journal, her sketches for the wildflower beds, little notes about planting milkweed for monarch butterflies. Riley asked earlier if we'd have to dig up Mommy's flowers if we moved. I just couldn't do it, couldn't leave, Couldn't let some HOA tyrant uproot the last piece of my wife my daughter still had. So I documented everything. Every sticker, every email, every fake complaint, every picture. If Diane wanted a war of paperwork, fine, I'd bury her in it. And that's when the story took a turn. My friend Reggie, a paralegal, introduced me to Mara, a property attorney with the personality of a sledgehammer wrapped in a silk scarf. Sharp, calm, terrifying in the best way. She dug into the HOA finances and discovered they were drowning in debt, $340,000 owed to the original developer. Balloon payment due soon. No money in reserve. Where'd the money go? Right into LLCs registered to Diane's business address. Landscaping contracts with no actual services. Consulting fees for community improvement. It was theft wearing lipstick. But the real twist came from an anonymous envelope dropped in my mailbox, a USB drive with emails between Diane, her ex-husband Lawrence the developer, and other realtors. Plans to squeeze out undesirable homeowners, coordinate lowball listings, and keep the HOA intentionally broke. Someone she'd hurt before wanted revenge and gave me the evidence to finish the job. When Mara put the pieces together, she looked at me with this expression, half shock, half opportunity. Max, the HOA is about to be foreclosed on. If you bought the debt, you'd become the creditor. You'd control the foreclosure. You could own the entire HOA. I laughed thinking she was joking. She wasn't. Lawrence himself met with me. Tired guy polo shirt with a coffee stain, not the millionaire mogul I expected. He hated Diane more than I did. Told me he'd sell the debt for $160,000 cash. Exactly the amount I had left from Jenna's life insurance and Riley's college fund. I remember driving home that night, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white, thinking, Max, if you screw this up, you lose everything. But then I remembered Riley asking if we had to leave, and something inside me snapped into place. A decision. A promise. I bought the debt. And Diane lost her mind. Suddenly there were smear campaigns on Facebook, posts calling me a squatter, claims that I was trying to steal 127 homes. She even set up a website with drone footage, dramatic music, and a GoFundMe that raised over $100,000 from people who had no idea they were funding a villain. Then she hit the nuclear button. She called CPS on me. The investigator, a woman named Emma, was polite, professional. But the moment she stepped inside, Riley panicked. Thought she'd done something wrong. Thought someone was coming to take her away. That broke me more deeply than anything Diane had done before. After they left, case closed immediately, I sat in the dark kitchen staring at the wall, wondering if I was dragging my daughter through hell just to prove a point. That was my lowest point, the moment I almost quit. Reggie showed up without knocking, handed me a glass of whiskey and said, "You don't quit now. That's exactly what she wants. And if you leave, she's going to do this to someone else." He was right. Diane had escalated because she was losing. So I didn't quit. I prepared for foreclosure day. And let me tell you, nothing could prepare me for what happened on those courthouse steps. By 9:45 a.m., there were over 200 people outside. News trucks, homeowners, protesters waving signs that said, "Save Meetabrook and keep out predators." Diane showed up in a white power suit, makeup flawless, ready to cry for the cameras. She held a whole damn press conference right there, calling me greedy, dangerous, claiming I was trying to destroy families. Mara leaned in and whispered, "Don't respond. Let her burn herself." At 10 sharp, the commissioner read the foreclosure notice in this bored monotone, the pool clubhouse playgrounds all up for auction. Minimum bid $340,000. Silence. I raised my hand. $340,000. Credit bid. Because I held the debt, I didn't have to bring a cent. You could hear the crowd inhale all at once. Some woman tried to shout a bid but wasn't registered. Diane yelled objections, but the commissioner waved her off. He wasn't a judge, he didn't care. Going once, going twice, sold. The gavel cracked like thunder. And just like that, I owned the HOA. Diane stormed toward me, eyes wild. "You ruined everything. You understand what you've done." I stayed calm. Pulled out the folder Mara told me to bring, held up the documents so the reporters could see. "This is the deed proving I was never in your HOA. These are emails showing you harassed 8 families into selling. These are payments you funneled into your own companies. Here's the police report from when you lied about owning my home. And this, I held up the last page, is the CPS case you filed to hurt my daughter. Gasps. Cameras clicking like machine guns. Diane's face went from rage to shock to fear in 5 seconds. Then Lawrence stepped out of the crowd. "She did this to herself," he said into the microphones. The board abandoned her. The crowd turned, reporters swarmed, and Diane finally shut up. That's where the story ends for today, the moment the tyrant fell. And if I learned anything from all this, it's simple. Bullies only win when good people stay quiet.